Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the very first 2024 Summer AAD Arguments Lecture Series. Thank you to all the students who arrived this week. Thank you to all the arguments instructors, the student instructors who are present, Dean Hake, of course. We are really lucky and thrilled to be welcoming our very first speaker, Yoshiharu Tsukamoto of Atelier Bow-Wow. Somebody whose work has been such a reference for so many of us in drawing, in practice, and we were able to read his texts on behaviorology and void metabolism, and reviewing his other work prior to today's talk. So today, Yoshiharu will be introduced by Alex Kim. Alex Kim, as you guys know, is an arguments instructor. And after the presentation, he will be joined by Laura Fierro, who is also a studio instructor in the Q&A and moderation afterwards. And lastly, if you haven't already, please check in and sort of scan the code so we can, you can submit your questions. And now I'm going to invite Alex up to the podium. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, 1 second. It's my pleasure to introduce our first guest in the AAD Arguments Lecture Series this summer, Yoshiharu Tsukamoto, co-founder alongside Momoya Kajima of the Tokyo-based architectural practice Atelier Bow-Wow. In addition to his practice, Tsukamoto is a professor at Tokyo Institute of Technology, where he also received his doctorate degree. As an internationally renowned architect and educator, he has also been a visiting faculty member at Harvard University, UCLA, the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts, the Barcelona Institute of Architecture, Kyoto Seika University, Cornell University, Rice University, Delft, and here at Columbia University as well, among, I'm sure, many others. As part of Atelier Bow-Wow, Tsukamoto is also an international fellow of the Royal Institute of British Architects, and in 2022, he and his partner Kajima were recipients of the Wolf Prize in Architecture. To quote the award committee, quote, "They reveal the degree to which art, science, and engagement with society require values that can be interrogated and challenged as a central part of their contribution. Conscious of the wider affects of architecture, each recipient embodies the idea of collaboration in varied ways, embracing geographic, cultural, and methodological differences to be celebrated, excellence through diversity," end quote. In addition to architectural behaviorology, which we've all read in preparation for today, Tsukamoto and Atelier Bow-Wow have written and published extensively with incredibly popular volumes such as Pet Architecture Guidebook, Made in Tokyo, and Graphic Anatomy, weaving together their research interests in urban form and development with their attentively focused and detailed approach to architectural practice. An attunement to specificity is a continual through line in his professional and academic work. In recent years, Tsukamoto's attention has turned to the behaviorology embedded in something as routinized as the window. In October of last year, he and his students at the Tokyo Institute of Technology published The Nordic Window, Window Behaviorology in Nordic Architecture, a compendium of research on the culturally specific understandings of ventilation, thermal and lighting properties, and atmosphere, of how the specific understandings of ventilation, thermal, and lighting properties and atmosphere inform the design of windows, and conversely how those values are informed by the windows themselves. Much of Tsukamoto's work also embraces a kind of humorous and lighthearted sensibility, as the name of the firm perhaps suggests itself. Made in Tokyo is an engaging example of this, a kind of guidebook of the city's most idiosyncratic urban and architectural forms that arise from the creative negotiations of Tokyo's density, like a driving school built on top of a supermarket, or a wedge building that tapers from 4.5 meters to just 20 centimeters along the slivered site of a leftover urban space in what appears to be almost a kind of act of malicious compliance. Originally published in 2001, the Made in Tokyo kicked off an explosion of interest in Tokyo's urbanism in architecture schools around the world. Having read the book myself before traveling to Tokyo for the first time in 2013, I found that Made in Tokyo greatly enhanced my own capacity to appreciate everyday encounters with the city's unique urban conditions. Somewhat coincidentally, but perhaps actually not, in my own educational experience, Atelier Bow-Wow's work was foundational. One of my first assignments as a Bachelor of Architecture student over a decade ago at Syracuse was to redraw a section of Atelier Bow-Wow's Nora House in Sendai, Japan. It was a sort of a weirdly kind of Beaux-Artsian assignment, but the assignment itself was strange, but it was an incredibly valuable learning lesson. Designed in 2006, this house's negotiation of fundamental design problems, sectional play, interior and exterior conditions, public and private experience, clearly mark and demonstrate Atelier Bow-Wow's idiosyncratic design methodology of behaviorology. For a young student, studying the Nora House and the work of Atelier Bow-Wow in general offered a crucial lesson in thinking critically about often overlooked quotidian qualities of domestic and urban habits as both catalyst and a vital site for architectural interrogation and defamiliarization. Subtle qualities in their work, like enlarging the length of a stair to become a stage for children's play activities, elevate the routines of everyday life to a kind of celebratory ritual that heighten and attune our senses to those experiences. As discourses of care have grown especially important in architectural thought in recent years, the firm's project of specific and attentive regard for the interplay between the built environment across scales and our embodied language of habit retain essential and growing value in our discipline. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Professor Tsukamoto.
Thank you for the comprehensive introduction, and I'm glad to visit New York and talk to you. And I haven't been in the United States since 2017 or something like that. So quite a long time. Not long time, quite time ago. Okay. Today, I made a mistake. The title is a bit, it's an old one, but behavior emerges in between. This is the title. So I like to start because there are too many slides. So this is a book, Architectural Behaviorology, published in 2010. It's a monograph of Atelier Bow-Wow, but discussing the three different type of behavior. One is nature, and second is human, and then third is building. And then they are related to the material and climate and habitus and typology. And in this book, I wrote that the power of architecture design is to synthesize those different behaviors in one physical entity and to let them perform better and help each other. And then I think it's a kind of beginning of emergence. It's a emergence of architectural intelligence. And then this is also my interest on behavior is that it is not monopolized by anyone, and then it is shared, and then it's repetitive, and it emerges in between through the encountering with certain resources and event. So, so behavior is not owned by yourself. It's you can't really own the behavior. It's always emerge between you and something else. And this is something recently I recognized by reading one book, AIDA, In Between in English, written by Satoshi Kimura, who is a psychologist and philosopher. And he said, where is the subjectivity of us, of human beings? And then he said, it's not on your side, it's in between. And then, so he says, there is always absolute otherness at the bottom of this subjectivity, since it is emerged in between. And this is a base of common sense, or, yeah. And then I think behavior is a phenomena or apparent appearance of this in between. encountering with certain resources and environment. So, so there are too many slides, so maybe I have to skip. So the first one, this is from the void metabolism, how architectural residential architecture house can be discussed through its behavior. It sounds strange because house doesn't behave; it stays at it. Yeah, it doesn't move, but with a longer perspective, longer time scale, you can discover the transformation of the same typology in one city from old one to from old generation to new generation. So this is a view of Tokyo occupied by the series of tiny little grains, which are single family house and apartment buildings. And then this graph shows on top, shows the life average of the house in different countries. And in England, it's 140 years. In Japan, it's 30 years. So this very short life average of the house is a kind of a hidden principle of mechanism of constant generation of the grains and of Tokyo. But this, and then through designing cities of small houses in the center of the city, I realized that I'm admitting the regionalization of the city textiles, urban textiles, weaved by the repetition of single-family houses. And then I realized that I'm doing metabolism of Tokyo as one architect, but my generation were all working in such kind of small houses. And then we are collectively working as an actor of metabolizing Tokyo by grain. So, but this is very different from 1960s metabolism, kind of heroic metabolism, structuralized by the model of core and replaceable capsule system. This is the most famous building built in Tokyo under the concept of metabolism, Nakagin Capsule Tower. Unfortunately, it is recently demolished. But the real metabolism is this. It's a repetition of small grains, keeping the gap between buildings, the void between buildings. So in the 60s, the metabolism happens around the core, containing the lifelines and circulations. But actually, the actual metabolism happens around the void. So since why I call this kind of urban texture void metabolism. And then through watching different areas, I found a different morphology based on this nature of Tokyo. And one of that is subdivided suburban. So it started from 1920s, together with single-family house typologies, inspired by Letchworth and from England, Garden City ideas, but it was so. But basically, it's not the same. But and then at the beginning, it was 250 square meters per plot. But already around 1970s, you can see the subdivision patterns from large to small, and then this happens by the there is one reason from the inheritance tax system. So if you inherit the land from your parents, you have to pay over 50% of the price of the land as tax. So 250 square meter around 1980s. So it was a bubble economy at the end of the 80s. And then 250 square meter costed $1 million. And then if you are a single child and then inherit from the parents, you have to pay half $500,000. And then normal employee can't afford this kind of tax. Then this subdivision of property happens to fulfill this tax by selling it. So this is the first generation, and then subdivision happens, and then so they divide into two. One is a square, but the other is this kind of flag and pole shape. And then the appearance of the first generation looks like this. They don't know. Yeah, it started from 1920s when Japanese people didn't drive the car. At that moment, there's no car garage. So all the edge of the property was trimmed by the green hedge. So, but now garden is too much grown. You can't see the house. And this is second generation from 1950s. They still have, the property became a little bit smaller, but they still have very strong preference to cover the house by green. And then this is third generation, and then divided into such way, and then built by the developer. In the looks like lemon cake, orange cake, and strawberry cake and chocolate cakes, and then there is no gardens, and then there is no enough distance with buildings, so the window became extremely small, and then no quasi extra space. The garage is not deep enough, so I think this is a kind of a transformation of single-family house typology. So I can summarize that this typology lost its generosity, and then what is so theoretically, the life average of the house is 30 years old, and then this typology started from 1920s, then 1950s, 1980s, and then 2010. It's a moment of the regeneration. So after 2010, all the houses can be considered as a fourth generation house. So what is the premises of fourth generation house? I made a kind of, Brewers, the three typical premises of 20th century previous generation, too pure for family, too much interiorized by production of a gap space. So fourth generation house should be the space with having the space with non-family members, more opportunity to stay outside of the house and redefine the gap space. So based on these fourth generation ideas, I designed several houses. So the first one is, this one is a guy house with a very unbalanced combination of the big roof and small volume box at the bottom. And the most characteristic aspect of this house is this eave, horizontal windows at the eave. So it looks like this in the night, and and then it's this metal seat reflects the light, and then fulfill this room with diffuse light. And then another house is house in Atelier Bow-Wow, where I'm living and working, and it's built in the flagpole site, so the building is really hidden from the public street. This is a section perspective. So the bottom two levels are offices, and then top two levels are houses. But this living room is a mixing chamber between house and office. So the space is all connected in vertical manner. Since why this kind of radiators are introduced in order to control the temperature. And yeah, and then this window is just 1 meter away from the neighbor's wall, borrowing their wall as our extensive wallpaper. And then and then we introduced two rooftop, and here the northern balcony for the quasi-exterior space to spend outside of the house. And then so behaviorology, I really liked to develop the behaviorology and then how to do it. And then I discussed with my students and then decided to focus on windows, because window is the most attractive element in architecture to gather different behaviors. The natural behavior, human behavior, and window itself behave through the repetition along the street. And this is the first book, Windowscape. And then, yeah, for example, the right is Tiffany, the choshokuってなんていうの? The breakfast at Tiffany. Yeah, and then she is yes, Audrey Hepburn. She was a really wild young woman, and then expressing her wildness by sitting on the windowsill and between inside and outside, and then playing guitar and sing songs. And then the left is in the Fisher House by Louis Kahn, articulating the window into to get the light, to see outside, and to get wind, and then to sit in the shower of the light. So and then recompose it as one big window. And so I'm very much inspired by these kind of references, and then developed further the investigation in around the world. But at the beginning, it was difficult to find a place to go. But finally, we decided to travel along the southern edge of Eurasian continents, because it's an old inhabited area, and then diverse religious background and climate conditions. So there are both stress from the climate and the society. So window can be very complex. And then we do this kind of measurement always, and then draw always this kind of section axonometric. Yeah. And we do always interview and take photo from inside and outside, and then so this is and then through this kind of comparison investigation, we found different series of concept of a window based on the which kind of behavior is gathered in one window. This is called seating window from Turkey, saffron board, and so this is it's a protrusion niche, which also appears in the facade, and but the people sit towards watching the interior space, not towards outside, and then windows should be covered by to some sort of wooden screens, and this time this is a curtain. It's because of the religious canons, not to show the female face to the public, for example. And this is window in window. So large window host small window for living. This large window is for the husband to fish in the bay of Procida, and then they can recognize their house from far. But actually, there are more demands for the small windows, adapting to the different behavior inside of the house. So there are many windows within big window. This is window within wind. Or how to close it? Oh. And this is Hawa Mahal in Jaipur. So she's a very emerging young Japanese architect, Chie. When she was a student in my laboratory, she was testing her cheek to sense the very subtle breeze produced by this punch by perforation of 7-centimeter stone plates, which holds the shadow inside. So it's blocked the radiation from outside, but same time it's produced a very little wind within this system. And this is a sculpting window by Louis Barragan, and so this crucified form appeared in his breakfast room. This is working window in Istiraklı Street in Istanbul, where the pâtissier can work at the same level of the windowsill, demonstrating their performance. This is viewing windows from Positano, and it's a perfect view of the, this southern Italian landscape. And then, based on this kind of project, we also did several architectural projects. So this is a research library in Muharraq. Muharraq is Bahrain, and it's in the World Heritage Area, and it's a regeneration of old building into new library for the community. And Musharabia is this window system, very typical in Islamic countries. And then, so we apply fully this principle of Musharabia for our new buildings. So this is buildings, and and then this is interior space. And interior space is really large box, in the large box with big tables, and then like this. And then the staircase goes up, and then along the staircase landing, there is small niches protruding out, like the windows of seating windows from Safranbolu, Turkey. So we designed this kind of seating windows together with Musharabia. And then this is a digital library floating in the box. Yeah. So second publication to develop further ideas of behaviorology was Commonalities. So this book discusses production behaviors, commonality of behaviors, and relational space of behavior. So I'm interested in public space at that moment, still now, because it can be considered as architecture without enclosure. How to make architectural quality without enclosure? I think I was really interested in how to, as a way to organize the behavior of the people. And so one of the chapters discusses different good practice of appropriating open space in the city by the body of people with shared behaviors. So the first one is cherry blossom appreciation moment in Japan under tree. So it's like it is in my school, Tokyo Tech. And then actually they are not school people, they are neighbors or graduate, or I don't know, who knows our school is a good place to enjoy cherry blossom. So what is happening here is a synthesis of two different behavior. The one is annual behavior of cherry to blossom once a year. And then second is daily behavior of the people drink and eat They just bring drink and eat under the cherry blossom and enjoy together. And then this is a celebration of the moment of spring arrival. This is Copenhagen's bridge, Dronning Louise Bridge. So people are sitting on the on this side, eastern side of the bridge stone balustrade, and enjoying the sunset. So look, but it was September, so at the late afternoon it was a bit chilly. So people on the bike wear the jackets and long sleeves, but people on this side are wearing T-shirts. What is happening there is they enjoy warm stone balustrade to and then can stay until the end of sunset on drinking beer and singing, playing guitar. So this is also a synthesis of two different behaviors. Some behavior, stone behavior, to absorb the heat and then radiate the heat, and then the people behavior of sitting and leaning on it. And then I think this kind of synthesis of behavior is the emergence of architectural intelligence. This is in Barcelona, a Rocket district. It's used to be. It's a roof. It's a public square built on the roof of a newly built metro station with a very nice view towards Mediterranean Sea. But there is no one on this side towards the view, but there are many guys gathering on this bench and roof area. And then at first time I visited there, I realized I felt like it looks like Andalusia, and then it's true because in 1920s many people from Andalusia migrated into Barcelona to work on construction site and then brought bricks every day in their pockets and then built their own house in this hilly part, which used to be outside of Barcelona. But nowadays, the area is consolidated into Barcelona city, and the elevators and escalators and metros are installed. And but the architect who designed this square didn't understand the behavior of the people. So, and then what are they doing? They are enjoying the birds. This is a hobby of the guys of Andalusia, and then, but there is no device to set bird's cage on this view side of the square, and then it doesn't look sophisticated, but it's not their fault. It's an architect fault. And then, based on this kind of observation, I can also apply ideas of behaviorology into some public space project. Canal Swimmers Club built in Bruges, 2015, is one very good example. So Bruges is a World Heritage Site and very famous by its art collections starting from 14th century. And yeah, although it is inland city, it used to be port, international port, and on utilizing the deterioration of the river by tsunami in 12th century or 13th century, I don't remember, but 13th century, I guess. And then they utilize this power of the reminiscence of the tsunami. They built new canals and then made this ring type of port. And then until 1976, the swimming in the canal was a very popular event in summer. It was a kind of public space for citizens of Bruges, but nowadays there is only a tourist boat because of the water pollutions. But nowadays it's improved. The sewage system is much better than before, and it's swimmable now. But there are still the barrier in the mindset of the people. And then the bridge trainer tried to reopen the water surface for public to swim. And then I tried to propose, I proposed the floating platform at the bridge to let people jump into the water as collective behaviors. So, so it's a very simple idea. So this is a quay and the bottom of the canal, and then this is a bridge, and then make a platform floating on the water, and then a very simple shades and without disturbing the views and existing trees, and then some steps. And there are many restrictions. You have to take 6-meter distance from the quay, and you have to protect this tiny little flower weeds, because it's evidence of because this is an indigenous plant, so it's evidence of the evidence that the Bruges used to be international port, so it's protected. You can't touch. And then this is a pontoon we borrow from the NATO, and then introduce this kind of zinc roof with Z profile, allowing the wind come through, but not allowing the rain come through. And yeah, this Z profile works well for wind and rain, and then it's built on the water like this. And the opening day was May, in the mid-20th of May, and then the temperature was 18 degrees, and then the water was around I don't remember, 10 degrees. So no one wants to swim. But I and the local architect really wants to show how swimming from this platform is delightful, enjoyable. And so we decided to jump into the water. But in June, it was so hot, so many people came to swim. And then like this, it became so popular. And then I encountered one old man teaching swimming to their grandsons and daughter. And then I'm sure that this old man used to swim in this canal, but now he is teaching how to swim with kids, to the kids. So this is another type of exchange beside currency. There is no exchange of the money, it's free, but you can teach your skills of swimming. But this skill of swimming was blocked for a long time, from 1976, by the pollution of the water and mindset of the people. It's generated by this prohibition. So the project is to clarify what is barrier, and then how to resolve this barrier to let people to access to local resources and make encounter with the body and the resource, which is water, and then the behavior of swim emerge between body and water. So another project is Environmental Energy Institute. This is a very different type of project, and it's one of my school building designed by my laboratory. Try to reduce the CO2 emission 60% from the standard laboratory building of yesterday. And yeah, there's many different environmental technologies and regenerative energy generation system. 4,000 photovoltaic panel covers southern and west facade and roof. So we call this envelope. And then the building is 7 stories high, and so with 2 different type of rooms. One is laboratory rooms with this kind of flat part with that view towards outside, and this kind of half-free transparent part with a horizontal application of a photovoltaic panel allowing the view towards outside. And then, so this is in between the building and this envelope. And then all this, this envelope is constructed by the 1.8 meters grid in vertical manner. So you can reach any panels anytime you want to maintain and replace from old to new. And then also this gap produce constant flow of the air from bottom to top to cool down the backside of, to cool down the photovoltaic panels. When it becomes too hot, the performance became, they become less performative and less efficient. So it looks like it's the most vertical space in my campus, so I call this solar cathedral. And then, I have this one, and then, but I have a doubt in this project. It's a super smart building, and building can reduce CO2 emission quite well, and we achieve it, actually. But this is this can be also received by wrong message by the people, like since city and building becomes so smart, so we don't need to change our lifestyle. So we can't really live from a very convenient lifestyle. And but I think this is wrong message. So, and then also this is a rhetoric of our construction industry today. So try to people convince to continue their life from 20s, and without encouraging them to change their lifestyle. But I think this is wrong. I think architecture can really empower people to think about, to rethink about their life itself, their lifestyle itself, and then their livelihood itself. How to construct your life. I think this is a big issue today. Most of us buy everything, food, energy, house. In order to do it, you have to earn money, and you have to pay for it. And then in order to become a good employee, you want to be good human resource. And then this is a typical model of today's human beings. We all became human resources. But the human resources is a word view from the, it's a vision, it's a idea, it's a human beings view from the managers. In Japan, it appears in the discourses. In 1941, when Japan was start fighting against the United States. So one of the report says, oh, well, what we have as resource, okay, mineral resource and forestry resource and blah, 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 and then at the end, human resource. This is the first time in Japanese this word appears in the history. But after the war, it turns into business word, and then nowadays, even universities use this word, human resource, as a kind of aim for education, for example. We produce better human resource, blah, blah, blah. But I think this is, I doubt, again, also, this kind of perspective about human being. And this doubt came from the experience of this earthquake from in 2011, it was it's a huge earthquake. 300 kilometer of coastline of Japan were somehow damaged by earthquake and tsunami, and then especially this Fukushima nuclear power plant exploded. And then we worked for we organize a group of architects, the volunteer network AAD, based on the network of soccer lovers in architectural field, and then so we work together to help the recovery process from the earthquake. So this is one of the view of the bay, the village, fisherman's village. So what we did, we started to hearing voices of fishermen who lost houses. But at that moment, it was really delicate work because we don't know who lost families and blah, blah, blah. And then, but unfortunately, the fishermen who lost family have already left from the village. They can't really stay in the village with this tragedy. So they are somehow positive to stay in the village because their business is fishing. And then they know how much fishing can earn money from Pacific Ocean. And then, and then what is, now this is Momoyo. Momoyo is asking many questions to fishermen and then writing down. And then based on this hearing, and then we also visited the village. Based on this hearing, we drew this kind of drawing showing the future visions of the village with relocation of the village on top of the hill, and then more the activity to attract people from the city to come. But yeah, but in this this is when we were walking in the village, and then behind the village there are the cedar forest which were planted by the villagers in 1960s, and then when you go there, it's like this, and then it's abandoned from 1980s because of U.S. Japan kind of foreign affair or business affair agreement. The timber from North America became extremely cheap, and then Japanese forest industry couldn't compete anymore against this imported timber. Then these kind of local cedar trees, cedar forests, are abandoned for 30 years. And then I realized that there is a barrier between the village damaged by tsunami and a resourceful mountain established by the market. So yeah, it's ideal to use those trees to rebuild the villages here, but actually the village should be relocated on top of the mountain, and then the cut trees and process these trees into construction timber cost a lot, so it's almost impossible. So yeah, okay, I skip. But anyway, I try to encourage villagers to imagine the new life, and then propose very cheap and small, tiny house for them to start living again in the beach village. And then we ask many companies to help us to build it, and then it's a built one. And then the construction-wise, it's quite interesting traditional manner, which is called itakura board. It's a column and a board system. You can construct. You can elect main structure in 2 days, and then interior finishing is ready at that moment. And you can just add the insulation from outside and the exterior cladding. And this house is based on the investigation of the typology of fisherman's house in these areas, because every day they wash their clothes twice, and then they need quasi covered space for repairing the fishing devices. So this house is very small, but although it is small, it holds all these characters. But actually, what is happening in this devastated area? This is a new residential area on top of the hill, and then it's same as Tokyo suburbia. It's a photo from Takashi Honma's book, and then it's same because the makers are same. So it's a big housing industry were involved in the reconstruction of residential area. So it looks totally same with Tokyo suburbia. And then I realized that okay, recovery from the earthquake achieved, but only by numbers, by spaces, amount of spaces, but network of network which was behind the fisherman's village with very organic relationship with topography and materials from surrounding environment and local carpenters were all gone. It was destroyed by tsunami and then never come again in this place because it's replaced by industrial network, industrial society network. So this is one of the contradiction of recovery process. After 5 years of experience of this recovery process, I drew this diagram showing the opposition between ethnographical network and industrial society network. And then actually we human beings used to live in ethnographical network, which has very good relationship accessibility to local resources, but now this industrial society network made barrier between local resources and people. And then what we can do, and then 20th century is this arrow, but what is 21st century is trying to bring people back to this hybrid zone, like fishermen. Fishermen they still live in this area, but same time living in this area. So they are very hybrid. They know how to fish. They know how to get energy from the mountains. And they know where these wild vegetables grows and mushroom grows. So they hunt all of them and then transform it into the meals. So they are hands to grab those resources from their environment. So I call them resourceful human instead of human resources. It's the opposite. So how to become resourceful human? I think that this is a kind of challenge of all of us nowadays. And then, okay, I should skip it. So we try to make Oshika Fisherman's School together with fishermen and to attract people from the city who are interested in becoming fishermen. We made a textbook, and then we continue to do this kind of school. And then at the 8th volume, we finally went to mountain and then realized that the fishermen are also not knowledgeable about the forestry. And then we made a project of Momonora village. This is the village called Momonora. And there are abundant cedar forest, and then we convince the owners of this forest and transform it into a village to keep on doing this kind of fisherman's school. And then we cut all these trees, several trees, and then dry them, and then process them, and then build all together with many participants. It's a kind of workshop, and it's a place. It's a construction to learn also. So it's not purpose oriented. It's more about value oriented activity. And yeah, yeah, this is it. Okay, I skip it. So recently, I'm really focusing on Satoyama revitalization in Kamanuma, in Kamogawa City in Chiba Prefecture, 1.5 hour drive from Tokyo. What you see, the reflecting surface on the ground is rice paddy, waiting for a rice planting moment. So it's a kind of a series of micro dam to hold the rainwater for a while and gradually bring them, throw them to the rivers. So it's also place for production of food, but same time it's also the place for maintaining the landscape. And then this is one, it's quite beautiful village. And then this series of rice paddy is actually cultivated by the collective from the city residents. And then Mr. Hayashi, who live in this house at the top of the village, who migrated in this village 25 years ago and became half farmer and half artist, poet. And then he organized this Rice Terrace Owners Club. And then I was invited to build a kind of symbolic pavilion to show the new way of working together with Muji. Muji wants to demonstrate a new way of working in this kind of farming environment together with remote work through internet. But it was 2016 before COVID. So people was a bit skeptical on our vision, our proposal. But now it is really well received. Now people really understand the value of these kind of ideas. So ground level is a rest space and a tool shed of farming activities, and the upper floor is office. Small study room. There is no glass windows, so it opens like this. And then again, it's fulfill diffused light. The room is fulfilled by the diffused light. So you see this green farming landscape from a little bit dark room, and with nice breeze trespassing, it's quite comfortable. And then I became one of the owner from 2019, and this is a scene of harvesting. And okay. And then the next day of the harvest, there was a big typhoon hit to this peninsula, this area. This is an old house where Hayashi, my friend, is living, and also offer to the visitors to use for any kind of activities. So he also teach how to make New Year decoration from the rice straw. He learned this technique from the AAD, and how to make natural soy sauce, and then how to bake the charcoal, and using this kiln. And so this is the damage by the typhoon on this house. So the metal seat cladded on the old thatch roof were blown out by the very strong wind, 50 meters per second, 50 kilometers per second. 50 meters per second. And then this old thatch roof appeared. And Hayashi said it's beautiful. So, and then I also said beautiful. And then we discussed, okay, let's renew the roof by thatching instead of a metal seat. And then in order to renew the thatch roof, we have to grow the miscanthus grass. This is old satellite photo, 1975. So the farming activity reach at this top of the mountain, the very middle of the mountain. But now, 2020, the most of the area from here, upper part from this line, were it turned into forest again. And then the old such yard, such field used to be here. And then 25 family worked together to renew the such roof. And every year, one house by these community members. And then the size of the roof is the same as the size of the field of miscanthus grass to grow. And then the size is defined by the size of the roof. So since why the size of the house in this farming village, there are 25 families, are all same. In order to make a democratic equality. And but it's very different from the democracy in the city. It's based on the resource management. So from the November of 2019, we started to work for this revitalization project. And then the first things we did was reopening the abandoned farm, and and then repairs rice field, mud dike, and we do also farming and cropping bamboo shoots and cropping plums and jams and rickers. And then the first project we did was collecting the small little work to maintain this landscape of farming, because from the city we know how to plant the rice and how to crop the rice. This image is very popular, so we know somehow, we can understand what is happening there. But after that, from autumn to spring, we don't know what farmer are doing. But actually, there are constant effort of maintaining this farming landscape for 6 months. And then, so one of my students stays for 2 months, 3 months, and then follow Mr. Hayashi every day and learn how to work. And then made a picture book like this. So we focus on the behavior produced by this job, by this small work. We call this chokotto shigoto. Chokotto means little, tiny little, because they don't work entire day. They work only early morning or late evening. Late afternoon. During the day, they do something else. And then but the accumulation of this work is extremely important. So, and then I realize that these behavior, they have different postures and gesture and behavior with different tools and different target and different natural resources. So this is again, the behavior emerges between your body and resource. So we collect, we still keep on collecting different behaviors produced in this village. Yeah. Okay. It's very interesting because in the city you don't use tools anymore. You use only smartphone. Huh? And but in the farming area, from morning to evening, you change different tools and then work together with earth, bamboo, trees, weeds, rice, and stones. So there are tons of different resources appearing in front of you, and then you always work together with tools. And then this relationship really tells you how to use your body. Because if you do your own manner, your kind of arbitrary manner, and then your back become easily painful. You become very tired. So if you see the old farmers working in the village, they are so sophisticated. They don't use too much power. And so there is a very interesting relationship between groundness and tools and body, which we lost in the city. And then in the summer of 2020, this old house, which used to be a house of chief of village, was on sale. And then we decided to buy collectively and then transformed it into community kitchen and guest house and organized as commons for the people who come from the city to participate into farming. Because this village is depopulating and then super aged. Now there are only 24 people living there, and then only 8 people are farming, working as farmers. And then the territory should be smaller and smaller and smaller. But the villagers, they really want to keep this beautiful farming landscape for as long as possible, so they accept Hayashi's ideas to introduce city people to work together. So Hayashi established a new way of farming which doesn't sell his crops, just shared from the experience, from the working process. And then in order to transform this environment in a more delightful and healthy way, we start improving the underground conditions. So this is Mr. Takada, who is the charisma of this new ideas of improving underground, utilizing the bacteria and the fungus to keep the soil condition healthy, and which can be more stable than just dry soil. So in order to make better circulation of air and water, he has many techniques to do it. Yeah, maybe Nosaku-san already shows this type of work. So this bamboo is bamboo piles with many, and then charcoals and leaves, dry leaves and straws, and then this kind of millefeuille structure can help. It's very porous, and then there is organic materials, and then it helps to bacteria and fungus grow, and then it's attract roots of the plants to come, and then it sucks the water from the ground, and then also give better filtration of the water towards the underground. So we changed the northern side of the house was very bad condition. So we work this, and then it's really improves the conditions. And then in order to widen the approach to drive up the mixer car of the concrete to make a cafe area, community kitchen area with concrete floor, because it is necessary for to open the cafe. It was required from the city government. We broke the one of the retaining wall, and then rebuilt, not by concrete, by dry stone masonry technique, which is it's a kind of a forgotten technique, but it's very easy. Once you understand, you can build the retaining wall with stones, and this is it used to be like this kind of really bad condition, but transformed into stone gardens. Actually, this stone garden is detention pond. So in the heavy rain, the day of the heavy rain, it turns into a kind of a pond, but you can still walk on the stone. Yeah, yeah, we use bark of cedar trees from the mountain also for new extension of the bathroom. We don't throw away the old materials. So one of the ideas is wasteless construction, because construction industry is really wasteful. So so any kind of woods are stored and then sorted in a proper manner, and then one day we find a new way to use it. But then we need a space to store them. And this is what we are trying to transform this the abandoned rice field into the field of miscanthus grass by digging trench. And then this is a byproduct of this digging process. But this turns into the new materials for re-rendering the mud wall of old house, and then it is supported by the bamboo slats, which is also from the back mountain. So this is woven by the bamboo slats, and then re-render on it by mud. So the kitchen used to be like this, but turned into this community kitchen, dining area. And then this is a rice husk, the charcoal rice husk. So this is a very simple system to transform, to bake rice husk. And then we can utilize for construction. It's really good for insulation and humidity absorber, and odor absorber. Yeah, it really keeps the air clean. The Kura, the storage building, used to be full of garbage, but turned into gallery space now. And then we extended this wall with salvaged corrugate metal seats to make wooden firewood storage. And this is the bathroom newly built and newly added, and then the floor is made from the wooden brick. And then finally, from 2021, we started the thatch roof reconstruction, renewing the thatch, together with this guy, very, very talented young thatcher, Ikuya Sagara, and he sympathized our visions to renew such with newly established community, together with not only local people but from the people from the city. So it's this community is called Yui, but it's now it's disappeared. It's very difficult. People gave this kind of ability of mutual aid construction to the market, to the construction industry. But we can bring it back again, because now the thatch roof is the most ecological and recyclable way to make roof. So why not to do it again? And then the UE issue can be somehow solved by using the internet and Facebook, SNS, social media. And then we collected 60 people from different places to work together with him. So it's the very interesting word, for thatching, we only need one professional thatcher and then 60 amateur or stupid people, but it's fine, unskillful people. But the construction of such roof is super nice, super soft. No big sounds of saws and drills and air guns, and so you can only hear the sound of scratching scratching straws and then tying them by the rope made of straws, and so that's really beautiful. And then it's warm. So and then there is no membrane dividing interior space and exterior space. If you push your arms from outside, you can shake hands with people inside of the house. And then this is a way to sew to fix this such on the roof, on the substructure made of bamboo. And this is the drawings how to make a knot for fixing the such on the bamboo. So this is a scene where we are looking for the nail, special nails to penetrate the such roof, appear inside of the interior space. It's difficult to see it, but okay. Yeah. So this is the second year, 2022, and we could finish one facet of the roof, but we still have three other facets, and then waiting for finding the money to do that. And then through this experience, we start to be very interested in growing and harvesting such, and visiting different places where still this kind of fields are maintained in a very healthy manner. And then through this experience of revitalization, I drew this quadrant made with two axes of owned and shared, and the mutual aid and contracted. So today's construction industry bring all construction into this first division, owned and contracted. So it is enclosed by specialists. There's no room for amateur to join the construction. But what we did was this third division and the second division. So, for example, the mutual aid construction for the renovation of old house into a community kitchen and guest house was in third division. So it's mutual aid and shared. And then renewing such is owned and mutual aid. So every 25 years, it's your turn. But in order to renew your such roof, you have to work for others for 24 years. But I think this is very interesting division also. So today, I think an architect, of course, we still continue to work in the first division. We, Atelier Bow-Wow, is actually working here and then hiring 7 people and then paying salary for them. But same time, it's only architect who can do second division and third division. In order to enlarge the ability of architecture to admit to the local resources and community. Otherwise, we are very kept away from the community and local resources, and then work as a soldier of construction industry. I think we should stop it now. And then can I talk a little bit more? Yeah, okay. So then after this kind of project, our guest house became quite popular through Airbnb, and then my students lost place to sleep. So we were confronting to make a new accommodation in the village, but all the village are all designated as farming land. So farming land is not doesn't allow you to build a house So in order to do that, you have to change the status of the land from farmland into building property. But it's very hard to do it. It takes time and money. So until 10 square meter, we can't do anything. And we can say this is farming for farming. This is a rest space during the farming activity, or this is storage for farming tools. And then in order to utilize by this gray zone, we are now building a series of tiny houses. The first one was built just next to this orange tree at the top of the village. And then it was, we are also running Satoyama School of Design, SSD. Satoyama is this kind of mountainous farming village where the regionalization of nature and the human utilization of nature meets very good balance. So we can continue, we can keep on doing forever. So this is Satoyama. We human beings don't exploit the nature, but the nature can become more diverse by the intervention of human beings. And SSD, Satoyama School of Design, I think now I realize that this experience is super good to redesign architecture education. So I invited Fuminori Nosaku and his laboratory of Tokyo Metropolitan University, and then Nori Kawashima, the laboratory from Meiji University, and Mrs. Fumio Suzaki's laboratory from Kanagawa University to do together this Satoyama School of Design. So 40 students gather and work together, learning together from farming to forestry and construction. And the first SSD was thematized as with finding the best place for building tiny house, and draws somehow the place, and also design tiny house. And then one of my students found this orange tree as already a kind of architecture. So she said this is architecture, a tree as architecture. So, and then she drew very simple hut next to it, and together with as a close-up of orange fruits with dew at the bottom. And then she said, since from here you can see the Pacific Ocean, and then it's kind of the rain from the rain must be originally from the evaporation from the ocean, and then hits the mountain, and then rain on the mountain, and then it was sucked by the orange trees, and then become juice in the fruits, and then we eat and excreted and then go to river, and then go to ocean again. So it's a kind of big circulation of the water, and then it's a network of and then it's a network of different things in the landscape, but the water is actually experiencing whole process, and then repeating again. So we try to make a tiny house within this network of things, and then making a roof, climbable roof, watching far the Pacific Ocean, and then easy cropping of orange tree, and then sleep inside, and then we have also persimmon tree, and then we have a stone, dry stone seating area, as piloty space. Yeah. So my students design from zero, and then together with me, but I just gave a consultation, and then basically it was their initiative, and then built, and then learn the manner of traditional joinery system from the carpenters, and then built, and this house, tiny house. And then roof is covered by the very fertile soil from the forest. And then windows are all from the old houses, and then double glazing. And then we invented, together with our permaculture friends, this another way to utilize rice husk for insulation. And it's a rice husk and water and slaked lime mixed together and then rammed within these slats of bamboos from bottom to top, and then covered by the mud wall, and then it really works well. So this is a tiny house, and Teki An, doo house, and then now the roof is covered by weeds. Yeah. So it becomes another symbol. Yeah, such roof is a very important symbol of regeneration or revitalization of Satoyama village, but this also works as a very important symbol that this village is receiving new people from outside. Yeah, this is interior space. Drawings, yeah. Yeah, and then this is another network of diagrams, how all the element of architectural elements are connected with different type of work in the field and the landscape. Yeah, and we continued this tiny house project, and then this is almost abandoned warehouse as a storage building, but now turns into another accommodation, sleeping space. We call this charcoal pavilion because it's next to the charcoal kiln. So we use a lot of charcoal everywhere. And then this is a lead cropped in the village as a insulation. And then this is old tatami, it's a kind of, yeah. And then we made new openings, and we can grasp the view towards rice terrace. This is another tiny house, basically for storing the firewood. Yeah, it's a very primitive manner. This time we don't use concrete anymore, so we just hit the charcoal piles of cedar into the earth, but we can't make it all horizontal or equal manner. So it reflects the solidness of the underground structure at the height of the column. And then we decided to use this difference of the column height for making a twisted roof. And then the roof, this is a sleeping capsule, and then it is insulated by such, like this, yeah. And then this experience really, another. Through this activity, our tool shed became very rich, and then now we have many tools, and then since there are many people come and then work together, so it should be well organized, and then this becomes a new important place in this village. And then I think it is please remember the quadrant. So and then this the first division, it's the construction in first division really keep away people from the tools. But now I think it's time to bring tools back to the city also. And then we start a tool shed study. So another quadrant is facility and field, and then service and tool. So most of the 21st century, 20th century building types is in the first divisions, service facility. And then Satoyama is filled with tools. So, and then what we can do, so second division is missing. So, well, I try to imagine 21st century building types can be can sprout from the ideas, the seed of idea toolshed. And then there is already some preference, precedent good practice by, for example, by Leonardo Baldi of Sesc Pompeius. This is actually real toolshed for public. And Teatro Officina is also theater redefined from the ideas of toolshed. Yeah. And from this point of view, I realized that, oh, our BMW Guggenheim in New York was also toolshed. So we imagine this kind of floating toolshed over the empty plot in the downtown, and then transform its mode of the ground level by bringing different tools from the roof. So sometimes it turns into auditorium, and sometimes a workshop space with a game invented by the thinkers. And then this is up floors as a toolbox. It's transported into Berlin and then rebuilt. And in the case in New York, the topic was confronting comfort. And then in Berlin, the topic was how make can change the city. So they also focus on crafting and do it yourself. And so in Berlin, it looks more like a toolshed. And this is the last one, the Usagi Kindergarten, 2023. We recently designed a kindergarten here. This is a kind of huge suburban development from 1970s. And so this is old one, and then this is surrounded by a forest. But the other part is fully occupied by this kind of housing development. And then what we started from cleaning the abundant forest, because at the beginning I tried to convince my client, the president of kindergarten, director of kindergarten, to transform his kindergarten into forest kindergarten. And then without making big facilities, let's use this forest for kids. But he is not familiar with ideas of this Scandinavians ideas or German ideas of wooden kindergarten. So he hesitated, but he's still interested in. Maybe we will have a chance to do it. But also within their properties, there is also original trees from the area. So of course we keep it, and then we can consider this kind of area under the tree as outdoor classroom. So there is a very good Wisteria, yes, Wisteria. So we keep this one. So we avoid, we could save this. This is old one. old kindergarten. And then there are many stuff like this, many cardboards and bags and plastics, and so it's not so well organized after 30 years, 40 years of running of kindergarten. And then this is one of the scenes when they invite parents as the audience, and kids perform in front of them. Kids perform theater play in front of them. And then we worked a little bit at the beginning, we worked for the reinforcement of the structure, and then we get used to visit this kindergarten. But after finishing this reinforcement, the city also tried to convince the director to change it into kodomo-en. Kodomo-en is kindergarten is from 3 years old till 5 years old, but the kodomo-en is a child garden. I don't know how to call it in English. Child care garden. They care from 0 years old kids to 5 years old kids. So since it's a reflection of the women's social participations in our society, we need such kind of facility to care the very little kids from 0 years old. And then, so we have a chance to redesign the entire building. But I liked this old one because there is no corridor. There is one big hall in the middle, and then they perform theater here. And then all the classrooms are connected, attached at the periphery of this hall. So I start thinking about how to reinterpret this whole typology into kodomo and kids garden, kids facility, new kids facility. So this is a site plan, original one, parking, and it's a playground and forest, a part of a playground, and then this is existing, the original kindergarten. So in order to continue the activity of kindergarten, we have to think about where we build the temporary structure of kindergarten by prefab structure. So and then we finally found this place is the most appropriate, and then destroy this old house, and then replaced into new one, and then destroy this temporary one, and then now this is the final result. And then the president added bought new property here, and then we can extend a little bit further towards west. So this is a plan. So with the central hall, the classroom of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And then this is a toilet, and then gallery space to store many play instruments. And this is a cooking, it's a kitchen for lunch. And this is teacher's room. And this is another classroom for special purpose. Yeah. And then this is elevation. So we keep the building as low as possible, and then give a different roof for different classrooms. And so this is a kind of profile of the roof. So this is a main hall in the middle with a higher ceiling, and then this is a classroom repeating at the periphery of main hall. And then this all the periphery wall stays 2.1 meters high, and then divided into 3 with 70 centimeter as dimension, shared dimension everywhere. And then the structure-wise, this classroom is supported by the reciprocal structure, which was once examined in the house designed by us, House Asama, and then we started from that. And then this room is supported by a kind of very hybrid way with a traditional manner and contemporary manner of making a roof structure. Okay. Yeah, this is a roof on the roof, from the roof. Yeah. So this valley part is quite, we have to really work carefully because it's all the rainwater gather into this place. And then for the wall, we introduce our experience of working together with local materials. So this mud wall is fully applied for the exterior wall. And then this is a workshop, scene of the workshop together with this director of the kids garden, kids facility, and parents and my students working together. And then kids also join the very first layer of the mud wall. Now they are mixing up this fermented soil with smashed straw, and then they work on the wall, but they can't use a proper device. They made a kind of ball and then straw, and then we adults work after that. And then gradually they start recognize our back as a wall, so they intentionally throw the balls of mud on my back, and but it's really funny and very interesting experience working together with kids. Yeah, this is from the interior, and then once you finish the interior, exterior wall become like this, and then we again render the mud from outside like this. And then we always work together with professional, but we don't let them work entirely. We ask them to work as a teacher at the beginning, and then so this is how it's look like from the entrance. Yeah. So it's a wooden structure, and then 2.4 meters overhang from the wall. So it gives enough outdoor space for kids to stay outside, although it is raining. Yeah. And this kind of concave topography is a detention pond for heavy rain day. Yeah. So kids enter from the playground. So there is always shelf of shoes. And this is somehow many details. So we try to avoid the industrial elements on the eye level of kids. So for example, this is for the ventilations, and there is a chamber inside, which is a bench actually from inside, and then the fan sucks air in the room, and then exhaust from here. And then this is surveillance camera, but we try to mimic it as a kind of a acorn, yeah, strange acorn. And yeah, all these kind of edges, all very important for the kids. So kids, the young kids, if you ask young kids, what was today, and then how was today, and then they explain you, tons of stories, tons of experience, because it's all fresh for them. And then every time they encounter with new things, they lose their balance, and then but re-establish their balance. And then this is how people live, actually. And then this is also, again, in between. So encounter is very important. This constant encounter in the facility for kids is I think it's the most important things. And we really concentrate on working on that aspect. And this is an outdoor classroom as an extension of interior space. So we also work together with my student to work with this kind of light civil engineering structure with organic materials. And it also help kids to touch and find insects and new sprouts from there, which doesn't happen in the concrete. And this is a room of 0 to 1 kids. Yeah. Yeah, this is 70 centimeter, 1.4 centimeter. This is 2.1 centimeter. So this is the zone of the very small kids. And then this is the area for the a little bit grown-up kids, and then the most of the staff who are young female, young ladies. So this is reciprocal structure integrating the lighting system. And so the rooms are all painted in different colors on the floor. The red one is 3 years old students. The yellow is 4 years student, 4 years students, and then green is 5 years students. And so this is a bathroom in between a classroom, and then this is kitchen. So the view from the hall is demonstrate the different activity in different classroom. And then for kids, it's very important to see different year, different age. So 5 years kids see 3 years kids and 1 years kids as a kind of a few years old experience of his life or her life. And then it's a kind of a mutual stimulation between kids. And this room can be transformed into quite different manner. There is also corridor along around the hall, and it's always connecting towards the outside. If you can close this edge by the black curtain, and then it turns into theater. And then this is a theater mode, and this is audience seats. From audience seats, there are the beams are designed according to this arrangement of curtains. Okay, this is the theater starts. So the speech of the director, and then kids are preparing in this kind of corridor, and then run into the stage and performing together. Yeah. And then sometimes it is utilized for the exhibitions. So yeah, many ways. So I'm very happy that this kindergarten is achieved in such a manner. Yeah. So this is a recent book we published, The Nordic Window, which was introduced by Kim at the beginning. And then this is another book, How is Life? It's a catalog of exhibition I curated together with Manabu Chiba, Sen Kwang, Tsuyoshi Tane, as a committee member of Gallery Ma in Tokyo. It's bilingual, Japanese and English. And then my activity in farming land, revitalization of the village, were well publicized in this book. Thank you very much.